You know, I've never really driven a regular WRX, and this one is the TR. Now, I've had some people say TR means track ready, which, yeah, I get that. You've got Brembo brakes underneath here. You got some Bridgestone Potenza summer tires on here. Nice 19-inch wheels. Those are nice. And, you know, the suspension is tight because, yeah, it's bouncing all over the road. It's just crazy tight. So definitely could take some corners. And it's a manual. So you've got fun involved in all of that. So I've also had people tell me it means tuner ready. So I actually do understand that too, because from what I've heard, you can get a lot more out of this engine. Now it's only putting out about 12, 13 PSI out of the turbo. You can definitely do more than that. And I've heard the Boxer engine can handle way more than that. But let's talk about what's going on with this car, what you get in the TR and this engine. So the color here is sapphire blue, and it does look really nice. You got a lot of sparkle going on in here. Really deep blue color. Looks really good, especially helps block some of the black trim around the wheels and wheel wells. So some people don't like that. I think it would look really good in red. If you had red with all this black trim around it, I think it would look awesome. So what you get with the TR package here is stiffer springs, which I talked about earlier, revised shocks, which I'm guessing means stiffer shocks also, because this thing is not fun to drive on bad roads, but on good roads, it drives excellent. You got a revised steering rack. You've got the Brembo brakes down in here and these 19-inch satin silver wheels that are specific to the TR, Bridgestone Potenza summer tires, and Recaro seats that we're going to look at here in just a little bit. But what you really want to know is the engine and the performance you get out of this TR. Every WRX comes with a 2.4 liter turbo flat 4 Boxer engine, 271 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque. It does really get this thing moving. 6-speed manual in this one. The TR only gets a manual. The other ones you can choose an automatic if you wish. 0 to 60 in approximately 5.3 seconds. That is a listed time. Motor Trend got about 6 seconds. They said it is really hard to get that 5.3 without dumping the clutch at a high RPM, which could cause some damage if you're not careful. And the fuel economy with this is 19 in the city, 26 on the highway, for an average of 22 miles per gallon. But in our test, got a lot better than that. All right, let's take a look at the trunk space in here. You see that beautiful blue color. While we're back here, we'll take a look down here at the exhaust. You've got this huge diffuser back here with quad exhaust. That is pretty cool. I think it looks awesome. Some people have talked about painting these. Like I said, you get a good red color back here, I think it's gonna look awesome. All right, let's see what we've got for space. So we've got about 12.5 cubic feet of space. It actually is pretty good. I was really shocked and surprised at how deep it actually goes back in there. So yeah, I think you have no problem putting some suitcases, some duffel bags. You can travel in this pretty easily. If you're enjoying this video on the TR, make sure you don't forget and hit that like button so that other people can also enjoy the video. So now it is time to check out the interior. You know, looking at the back end of that, it looks pretty good. It does have a pretty nice butt on it. Let's go take a look at the interior though, because that is what everyone wants to see. They kind of, in the past, kept these kind of base model looking, but this one is not base model. Okay, so here is your door. It's black with, you've got some red stitching going along here, which looks really good. And then you get down here and you've got your Harman Kardon stereo system. You do have a spot for a water bottle right there. You do have all of your window and mirror controls. There's no memory seating in this, but this does have those awesome Recaro seats that we were talking about. These seats are also in the GT. The only problem that I have with these is these have a tremendous amount of lumbar, and my body does not like it. I don't like a lot of lumbar. I like very little or none. I like to sink into my seat. I know other people are going to be fine with these seats. They're going to think they're awesome, but for me, a little too much lumbar. So if you're one of those people that don't like a lot of lumbar, these seats may not be for you, but go take one out and drive it to make sure that it is or isn't comfortable for you. You can see extreme amount of bolstering on these. They do feel really comfortable, especially up here. It keeps you planted in your seat. These are powered, unlike the Recaros in the Mustang GT. So you have 8-way powered seats on this side, your manual over on the passenger side. Here's a quick look of the interior, and then we are going to hop in. All right, coming across the dash, you've got your vent over there, and then you do have some very nice Alcantara coming across here. Now, I guess they call it ultra suede is what Subaru calls it. You've got the red stitching going along with it. This is kind of a rubbery material up top here. It's very similar to what was in the Outback from last week that we had. Come across here, this is also the same as the Outback, and I like it, except for the fact is, look how much glare you can see. And if you get at the right angle with this and the sun is coming in from the window, it will hit here and ricochet right back into your face. And I had a problem even seeing the screen when that was going on. So it's just at certain angles, but other than that, it's nice. And I think it's just because this is behind a thing of plastic. This plastic wasn't here, you probably wouldn't have as much problem. So we're going to move on over here to the driver display. Very similar also to the Outback. You've got analog on right and left with your RPMs and temperature gauge on the one side. You've got your speedometer and your fuel gauge on the right side. Typical, old school, normal, and I like it. Middle, you do have some adjustments that you can make. You do have a digital speedometer in the middle, and at the bottom you have your odometer and your trip miles. Up at the top it says mile per gallon. That is kind of your current mile per gallon. And then below that is the trip A mile per gallon and miles to empty. So then we'll switch that over, and this is your turbo pressure. So right now it's at -2. See, we rev it up. Got up to about 4 right now, but if you were driving, it will get up, and you see the peak was actually pushing 14 PSI. So that is really good. Then you got your time and your temperature, navigation, and then you've got your compass and your tire pressure. Oh, this is your current from the time it has started. So that's your timer and your miles you've driven. And then you got miles per gallon from the time the car started, and then back to trip A. So now we've got this steering wheel right here. It is basically the same as what was in the Outback for the most part. Over on this side, you have all of your driver assistance features. So you've got your adaptive cruise right here. You also have the eyesight control in here. So you have lane centering and lane keep assist, which is pretty good. It works pretty well. And then on this side, you have your stereo, your volume, your track change, and your voice recognition, and your phone underneath here. Now, to change that center screen up there, the buttons are actually down here, which is different from the Outback. So you've got these right here, they're nice. I mean, I kind of like it. It took me a little bit to find them and get used to them, but yeah, they work okay. Right here, I like to be able to see everything that your stocks can have on it, which this one you really have to lean forward and look at to be able to see through the crack of what it is, or around the outside to try to figure it out. Same thing on this side. So for me, those are not in the best position. They should be up a little bit higher, I feel, but maybe that doesn't bother some people. This is your home screen, and you have, I'm trying to keep you guys out of the glare, Android Auto, there is Apple CarPlay, also wireless. Android Auto is also Apple CarPlay is not. You have your Subaru, you've got your settings. You go into your settings, that's where you're going to change all of your information. If you go across the top here, you see sound, navigation. We're going to go phone, radio, and we're going to go into car. This is where you're going to change all of your features for your car. So you've got your eyesight in here that you can make all of your adjustments on that. Eyesight assist monitor, that's basically to let you know when there's danger. And it actually, the eye assist monitor, it actually displays up on the windshield. So it's kind of like a heads-up display. It'll be green when everything is good. When you get out of your lines on the road, it will light up orange. And then if you need to brake or stop or something's going bad, it'll turn red and flash red and do all kinds of crazy stuff. Not that I've actually turned it on. There's a lot of stuff in here, but it's all of your basic driving functions. Okay, we'll go back here, and across the top you do have some hotkeys. So you've got Bluetooth, navigation, there are some water temperature, average speed, just some things that you might want to know. There's the weather, and that's it. Okay, if you are connected to Android Auto, it will pop up there also. You got your hazard up here, you've got your volume right here, front defroster, your temperature for this side and temperature for this side, and then your rear defroster, tune button, not a big deal. So if we look down here, you have this car right here. We click on the car. It's kind of a hot button for things you might want to change. So you got cruise control. It's set on dynamic, so you can adjust how quick it adjusts to the car in front of you. And you got driving assistance, so you've got lane departure warning and a few other things that you can change. And same thing here, just a few buttons that they think you might want to use. If you go down here, this is, of course, you have your home button, and then you have your phone button to connect that, and then you have your profile settings, which we don't have any in there. You also have heated seats with these Recaros, which are nice, because that's different than what the Mustang Recaros also had. And then you have your temperature and heated seats for the passenger side. If you click on this, then it'll bring everything up here on the screen great big, so you can easily change whatever you need to. So you can set sync, you've got auto, recirculate, air conditioning, max air conditioning. You go down at the bottom, and then you've got all of your directions on where you want your airflow to go. If we come down here, you have a 12-volt plug-in right here. You have an input here, USB-C, USB-A. You have this tray down here. This is probably a wireless phone charger in other models, probably the GT and maybe some of the other ones, but in here it is not. It's just a tray. It'll hold my cell phone there, and it will also keep my sunglasses. Back here is the 6-speed shifter, which the reverse is in the back part. So you lift up on this, and then you pull it over and shift it down into reverse. Very easy to use. I haven't had too much problems with this one, unlike some of the other ones that I've driven. I've had a little bit of problem with some of those stick shifts, but this one is doing great. We come back here, and you got a emergency brake, which you should always have. And then you have 2 cup holders. You got this little tray that I got the keys sitting in. And then we have this center piece. Now, I cannot call this a center armrest because my arms do not rest on it. I don't know what the deal is. It is way too far back. Anyway, you lift it up, and there's not a very big amount of space in here. Yeah, it's kind of small, but you do have another 12-volt plug in there. So when I'm driving, I basically have my hand just sitting on the shifter right here. So I'm kind of resting it there most of the time. But if I'm driving for a long period of time, like at cruising, I want to pull my arm off of it and I want to rest it. Well, the bolstering in here, I'm hitting right here, and then the arm rest is clear back here. So I'm like leaning back and laying back here, trying to rest my arm. Otherwise, I'm just putting it in my lap. So I don't think that's the best thing. I think they probably should just get rid of this right here. Get rid of this tray, move this forward, and then bring this armrest on up to here, a little bit farther. I mean, give it a couple more inches and I can at least put my elbow on the corner of it, you know. So that's my suggestion there. Well, that's my suggestions for here. So front, there's no armrest for my arm and the seats are in the way. Very simple there. My elbow is just I have nowhere to go with my arm. The seats, too much lumbar for me. I don't like it. I'm not that comfortable. I drove for 2 hours doing our testing on this car and my back was not happy. But like I said, that's me. And other people like a lot of lumbar, and I think they're going to love these seats if they like a lot of lumbar, but just make sure you go test them out before you decide to go buy one and take it home. All right, time to jump in the back. I am 6 foot. It looks like there's plenty of room back there, but we better check it out just to be sure. All right, as I mentioned, I am 6 foot. This door opens really well. It's not quite 90 degrees, but it's pretty close. Driver's seat is in my driving position. I'm gonna get in, and yeah, it's actually got a decent amount of room. We've got about a finger's width between my knees and the back of the seat. So it's about a 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch. So that's actually pretty decent. I can relax a little bit in here if I need to. Seats back here actually feel pretty good. I don't feel as much lumbar poking me. And headroom, we are looking at about, I don't know, 1.5 inches, almost 2 inches of headroom. So the headroom is really good. But if I put my head back too far, then my hair is scraping. So we probably got maybe a 1/2 inch. If the farther you go back, the less room you get. But otherwise, it's pretty good. So let's take a look at what the passengers get back here. All right, so you do basically just have the black door. You do have red stitching in here. You've got a pocket for your drink and window controls. You got a little bit of fake carbon fiber right here. And then let's get in, and you can see that we do have USB-A and USB-C plugs, which are good there. I'm not sure what we're missing right here. I don't see any vents back here. So apparently I think this car is small enough that it doesn't need vents in the rear. So you do have mat pockets in the back of the seats, and you do have an armrest with cup holders. Well, that's it for the back. So now I know you guys have been wanting to know, what about pricing? How much does the WRX cost? How much does the TR cost? We're gonna go over that right now, and then we're gonna take it out for a drive. The Subaru WRX base starts at $32,735. Now that is a great value. You still get the same engine as this TR. You just don't quite have as many amenities on the inside. The TR is the second from the top trim. The top trim is actually the GT, but this TR starts at $41,655. And this one right here with options and destination fee come in at $42,775. Now, I think it's time to have some fun and go take this out for a drive. All right, we are gonna take this straight out here and get a 0 to 60. And maybe, hopefully I won't kill it. All right, here we go. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Now, not a very good jump. Yeah, we're past 60, but didn't get a good jump off that first one. You guys can have a good laugh at that. All right. So yeah, it was not the best launch ever. But this also does not have rev matching, which is one of very few that don't have rev matching anymore. I think that is a plus. I think that is something they could add to this, and it would make this even better. But I don't drive sticks every day either, so part of that is just me. Anyway, you guys can rip me in the comments if you want to. I'm all for it. That's fine. Just keep it clean if you would. So we've been driving this for about 2 or 3 days. I really haven't spent a whole lot of time other than our 2-hour tests that we put every car through. And So far, like I mentioned, the seats for me, are not that comfortable. For others, they are probably just perfectly fine. I do like the layout in here. I like this infotainment screen, the way the buttons are and everything. Some people think it's a little cluttered. I don't think it is. I think everything is good and works perfectly there. Sometimes I would like to have some physical buttons, but they do give you some physical buttons on the outsides of it, which is nice. They do give you some of that. The worst thing about this car, I would have a hard time having it as a daily driver just because of how stiff the suspension is. I couldn't drive this every day because I think it would really agitate me and get on my nerves of how stiff the suspension is, especially in this area where we don't have the greatest roads. They're not horrible, but they're not the greatest. They are repairing a lot of them, and you get on a fresh, clean road and it drives amazingly. But if you are in an area where the roads are not well taken care of, this is going to bother you on a daily basis. Track car, this would be a blast to take on a track. I think I would love to get this on a track when I had the chance. I don't know that I would spend the money on this TR just because I don't go to the track. If you want a daily driver and you want a good car, get one of the lower trims or get the GT. The GT is going to have these same Recaro seats, so if the Recaro seats are good for you, then there you got something else, and it's probably may not have the same suspension, so you might have a little bit more comfortable ride. The car itself overall is really nice. I do enjoy driving it. It is a fun car to drive, and it does sound really good. The engine, I am amazed with, because there's a lot of times where I was taking this in third gear and they say you can run this out 6,000 RPMs, no problem. I ran it out 6,000 RPMs and it was still pulling in third gear. It didn't let off, and the engine just had a smoothness to it. I mean, it was just a purr the entire time, even though it sounded like it was running like a bat out of hell. It was a purring, smooth sound coming from this engine. I was just amazed at that. I want you guys to try and hear this accelerate in third gear. So I'm gonna get up here and I'm gonna go into about fourth. I'm in third, okay? I'm going about 40 miles an hour. Now I'm gonna put my foot to the floor. Right now, it sounds like it's like, oh, shift me. But listen to this if you can. Foot to the floor. 6,000 RPMs at 80. This thing will just go. I'll try to amplify that sound so you guys can hear it, but oh my gosh, it's just an amazing purr coming from this thing. Awesome. I did just realize that I have my mic sitting next to me and not on me. Audio should be okay, but the two things that I talked about earlier were my only real complaints about this car, and it's really not a complaint. There's nothing wrong with them. It's just annoying to me. And maybe it's annoying to you, but I wanted you to know what to expect if you go to get in one of these cars. Some things that are affecting me could affect you. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button so that other people can also see and enjoy this video. Then click on one of the videos that's on the screen right now. One I chose for you, the other one YouTube chose for you. I think you're gonna like them both. So have a blessed day, and I will see you in that next video.